Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining me today. I'm back with another 6x6 video where I take 6x6 pattern papers and scraplift a photo or a layout, I should say, from that I find on Pinterest. So I use it for inspiration. So today I'm going to create a layout using 6x6 papers from Authentique, and I can't tell you what year they were from, but the paper collection was called Renew. So I'm going to cut all of these down. The layout that I found has all of these cascading squares down the left-hand side. And, it doesn't have a dimension, but I kind of took a guess and I cut them down to 3-inch squares. So they're 3-inch squares, and I cut down quite a few. I think I end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 14 altogether. So I ink everything up and I'm going to start layering my photo on top of some elements. So I created a banner with this green paper. I'm going to layer it over one of the distressed yellow papers also from the pad. I'm going to pop that up on some fun foam and I'm going to layer a couple more pieces behind it of the pattern paper. Now I did take a page of this pattern paper and I fussy cut the flowers out of it. I also took scraps and I punched hearts and butterflies and a label, some small circles. So I use all of those to embellish this page, and it's not heavily embellished because I wanted the paper and the actual layout to do most of the talking, aside from the photo. I just found that this one needed the very light embellishment and not go heavily embellished. So I'm going to glue all of these papers together, layering them up, balancing the colors and the patterns. This was one of those pages that is very simple. It's not hard to do, but has a huge impact. And I don't know if it's the squares, the cascading squares. I just don't know, but I just find that this layout just has a huge impact in keeping the background kind of a little more neutral. Maybe that's what it is. The hardest thing about this layout was probably keeping that line of squares straight. So I was being very careful to make sure all of my points were in the right place. Everything was, there was nothing crooked. All of my spaces were good. So I'm going to get all of those glued together and then I'm going to put them down. Now, I will tell you that there's a lot of layers here and ATG does not hold with it. So I do end up going back later on and adding wet glue to make sure that it holds. So I'm going to trim that off. I'm also going to go around, the outside of my page to just give it, a finished edge and a little bit of shadow around the outside. And then I'm going to play with the placement of my photo. And I thought about overlapping it onto the squares, but it just doesn't have the same impact. I'm not quite happy with it there. So I do place it pretty much exactly where she has in the original layout. So I followed that layout pretty darn close. She has two bordering pieces that span the whole background page on the top and the bottom. I do not include that. I also have two extra pieces of pattern paper behind my behind my photo. So aside from that, I follow the sketch pretty close. So I'm going to start embellishing, and I haven't added those other pieces of paper in there yet, but I certainly will. I'm going to ink up all of my little embellishments. I will pop some, I want to say I pop some up on foam, but yes, I do, a little bit. So I do have lots of the fussy cut flowers and some butterflies and some circles, and everything gets a good distress ink um, around the outside edges just to make everything pop and separate. And I'm going to start adding some embellishments, not just behind the photo cluster, but behind the in between all of those cascading squares as well. So just to break those up, add some interest. And here's where I come in with those extra pieces of paper. I think they were just extras that I had, and I wanted to use them up, so I did find places for them, and I really like how it turned out. Now, this background sheet that I'm using is a piece of solid cardstock, and I have no idea where it came from. I don't know the name of it. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at it now. It's a pearlized. The other side is pearlized, but I wasn't fussy about that. But I did like the back side of it, not pearlized. It's very, flat color. But it went really well with this collection. And it was a neutral without being a bright white because there's no bright white in this collection. But having the bright white around my photo frame also helps the photo stand out. And the collection actually really goes well with the colors in the photo itself. Aside from Jody's purple and blue jacket, Haley's is, a green. The snow is behind them, but it's got shadows, so it's a little bit off color. Um, and this is a photo of my oldest Haley and a friend of ours, Jody, and they're standing in um, a bit of an ice cave out on Lake Superior. So I'm going to add all of my little bits and pieces, and you see I have a lot of pieces that are fussy cut on the side there. What I'm going to do is that I have two layouts from each paper pad. Now these were partial paper pads that I wanted to finish up and, get out of my stash. So through the year, I'll be creating one of these projects every month, and with each of these paper pad partials, I'm creating two layouts. So whatever I finish, whatever I have left after I finish the first layout, the rest of it goes into oh my gosh, the kit for the second layout. I've already made all of the kits, so they're all ready to go. I love making page kits. I can make page kits for days on end. I think it's great. So when I was putting the series together last month, I just created all of the page kits, got them all done. So next month's page kit is featuring, I believe it is Dear Lizzie Serendipity. I think it's Serendipity. Super old paper pad for me. A 6x6 again. They will all be 6x6. And like I said, I only had a few sheets left, so I wanted to use them up. So I'm going to get some more little embellishments in here, making sure I ink all of the edges so they all match. Just looking to see if I can fit anything anywhere else, and I don't think so. So I think that's it for embellishments. I am going to add some sprinkles with my Distress Oxide spray in black soot, making sure to cover my photo so I don't get any splatters on there. And then the last thing I'm going to do is add some enamel dots in kind of a cream color. And then I'm also going to add some adhesive pearls in a really beautiful silver color that just pulls the gray out of these papers beautifully. They are a Recollections brand, so they are from Michaels. And they just actually, I wasn't even sure if they were going to work with this paper, but they turned out to be absolutely perfect. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I will see you again next month with another 6x6 video. I will have one every month. And yeah, that's everything. So have a great day, guys, and stay safe and well. Bye bye.